Welcome back, everyone. Today we're cracking open Red Hulk number 1. And let me tell you, this issue is a thrill ride. We've got Thunderbolt Ross, War Games designed by Dr. Doom, and a Red Hulk comeback that'll shake the Marvel Universe. Let's jump into it. The air was thick with tension as General Thunderbolt Ross, an old soldier with decades of warfare behind him, sat aboard a commercial airliner soaring over the Yellow Sea. He moved through the aisle, ever the composed strategist, picking up a plush toy for a child before excusing himself. But deep in his mind, a storm raged. Strategy should always be divorced from emotion, he muttered to himself in the mirror. Collateral damage is inevitable. That is the price of war. The tranquility of the flight shattered in an instant. The pilots, their eyes wide with horror, saw something impossible on their instruments. Turbulence where none should exist. And then, before they could react, a massive crimson hand tore through the plane like it was paper. Thunderbolt Ross is on a Chinese airliner and says, "The Chinese airliner will contain 400 some passengers. For maximum impact, the manifest should include a few political figures and celebrities. The world will believe it was shot out of the sky by North Korea. This belief will be reinforced when I breach the facility and launch nuclear missiles at Shanghai, Seoul, Tokyo, and Manila. This will create chaos throughout Asia, where alliances are already fractious. In Korea, at the Yongbyon Nuclear Research Facility, we see the Red Hulk falling from the sky and landing in front of North Korean soldiers. He breaks into the nuclear facility, and we see that he takes out multiple soldiers." He continues to say, "Hypothetically, this could be accomplished by a highly trained fire squad, but then you create more possibilities for witnesses as well. As mechanical and human error, I would do it alone." Back to the plane, passengers screamed, their bodies flung into chaos as a plane crumbled around them. Fire erupted, metal screeched, and within moments the aircraft was obliterated, its passengers falling helplessly through the sky. But none of it was real. We see that Red Hulk is actually in a cell as Thunderbolt Ross, old and with gray hair on his head and beard, showing he has been there for a while. It turned out that everything that happened on the plane was an illusion orchestrated by Dr. Doom. Doom was putting him through various simulations so that he would have different war strategies now that he had conquered the world. Thunderbolt Ross says, "Dr. Doom." The imposing figure of Victor Von Doom materialized before him, clad in his iconic armor, his voice laced with both amusement and scorn. "I admire you, Thaddeus Ross, a celebrated general, yet still a blood-soaked soldier. You believe in your strength, in your strategy, and for that, I thank you for your enlightening thoughts on how to sow chaos in the East." Ross seethed, "Don't patronize me, you bastard. I gave you what you wanted. Now give me something in return. A phone call, a breath of fresh air, a glimpse of the goddamn sun." Doom tilted his head, unimpressed. "You are in no place to make demands." Ross lunged forward, fist clenched, but an invisible force stopped him. He hit it hard with his fists. He can't break it, so he spits on it. Ross says, "How long has it been since you locked me up in here? How long has it been? 6 months? A year? Answer me, bastard." Doom stepped closer, his voice a razor's edge. "Take a long, hard look at yourself. You have forgotten your dignity. And you have forgotten who holds power here." Doom says, "I encourage you to return yourself for order, like a good soldier." Doom then uses his magic to lift up Ross and toss him against the walls. The pain was nothing new. It was familiar, like the detonation of an IED years ago in the Hindu Kush Mountains. An IED detonated and ripped Humvee in half. I crawled away from the smoking wreck, feeling a little like this, like my whole body has a bruise. I've been resisting Doom from the beginning, but I snapped today. For the first time, the weight of millions of pounds of rock feels like it's pressing down as I'm trapped in here. The crushing weight of being trapped, Red Hulk clawing within him, desperate to break free. Doom says, "This will serve as an uncomfortable reminder of who commands you. Your rank is no longer relevant. nor is your country. You serve me, and you serve Latveria. For months, Doom had forced Ross through war games, strategic exercises, scenarios that played out in twisted illusions, terrorism, economic sabotage, war. He wasn't just toying with Ross, he was building something, a think tank of destruction. Day after day, week after week, month after month, Doom demanded that Ross and himself work their way through military scenarios. War games. Ross says, why? He won't tell me. Maybe it's an amusement. Maybe it's a test. Maybe it's a rehearsal. I can hear my pulse hammering in every wound. And Ross wasn't alone. A faint tapping echoed through the walls. A pattern. Morse code. A message. My name is Deathlock, and I am a prisoner. Another tapping. I am General Simon Riker of the U.S. Army, and I am a prisoner. More taps emerged through the silence. I am Hugo Perez, head of the Hook Cartel. I am Le Wan Thang, a professor of political science. I am Machine Man. A few weeks ago, Deathlock was brought over from another dimension so that Doom could use him as an analog agent in a digital world. But after several probationary missions, Doom senses insubordination and locked him up. A few days ago, Machine Man was in the middle of a massive data breach when Doom came for him. Ross says, no doubt there are others held captive here, but these are the ones who understand Morse code. In the days that follow, we are in constant careful communication. When not communicating, it was more war games with Doom. How would you interrupt Roxxon energy through pipeline and oil platform destruction, or increased drilling in Africa? What are different ways you would slow or shut down shipping ports? Orchestrate an attack that takes place on a major religious or national holiday? How can addiction hurt the economy? What animal research laboratories would be most likely to leak a deadly pathogen? Hack the electrical grid, poison a water supply, terrorism, disinformation, scandal, blackmail, environmental catastrophe, digital erasure, war. And we see that Doom is pitching these scenarios and making Thunderbolt Ross live them out in his illusions. We see Red Hulk tearing Captain America in half, but we also see the other prisoners being utilized by Doom to commit catastrophic events. And then Ross realized this wasn't just a prison, it was a war factory, filled with some of the most brilliant and dangerous minds in the world, all held captive by Doom. Ross says, a think tank. He's building a think tank dedicated to global war. I've been here the longest, and I'll admit, I've let the isolation get to me, but my strength and resolve have returned, because I now have a think tank of my own, and our focus is clear. How do we get the hell out of here? And how do we stop Doom? A strategy begins to take form, though it needs to be workshopped. 3 times a day, we are fed. We are to stand at the back of our cell while the force field is disengaged. I always suspected Doom would be too proud for such a humble task, but it was only through Morse code that I confirmed this was one of several Doombots delivering our meals, sometimes within seconds of each other, sometimes simultaneously. I've never tolerated conscientious objectors. Doom doesn't either. We all actively insult our captor, trying to goad him on, trying to get him to destroy ourselves for us. Machine Man is nearest me. He doesn't have access to his powers, but he does have access to his component parts. A telescopic cable system runs through his arm. I tell him what to do, and though it takes a few days, Doom finally breaks him by throwing him against the wall of his cell, and that injury is exactly what allows for his escape. We estimate that our cells are between 50 and 100 yards apart. The timing is such that we have fewer than 10 minutes before our next meal is served. He can only move so quickly, his body cracked and bent. None of us have access to a clock, but by the time he gets to my cell, I guess we have less than a minute to spare. Wounded but operational, Machine Man crawled through the vents, inching his way towards Ross's cell. Time was against him. Seconds bled away like an open wound. When Machine Man finally reached him, Ross grasped his extended cable hand and pulled himself free. Ross continues. He says, "Not having access to Red Hulk is like not having access to an aircraft carrier or a tank brigade. I recognize that I am in no position to fight Doom, but that doesn't mean I can't outmaneuver him. You know the story of the Trojan horse entering the city of Troy with a belly full of soldiers? You know the story of 300 Spartans defending the pass at the Battle of Thermopylae? The great strength can be in the maneuver. We could be miles underground. We could be lost or gassed in that maze of vents. I don't make plans based on unknown variables. I make plans based on what I know. And I knew this Doombot would have no reason to re-engage the force field if a cell was empty. And I know its chip technology is the key to this prison, and to my power inhibitor. We then see a Doombot step into a cell and finds that no one is there. The Doombot leaves the force field barrier down, and that gives Machine Man and Ross an opportunity to take out the Doombot that was there to feed them. Still, escape meant nothing if they remained powerless. They had inhibitors on them, preventing them from accessing their full strength. They needed one thing: a Doombot. With machine precision, they timed their assault. The next Doombot that entered fell within moments, its technology ripped from its lifeless body. Ross wasted no time. He smashed the inhibitor that had shackled him for months. And then, the room trembled. A low, guttural growl built in his chest, his muscles expanding, his skin igniting into a furious shade of crimson. The rage, the power, it all surged back like a tidal wave. The Red Hulk was free, and Doom had no idea what was coming. So after months of being Doom's prisoner, forced to play out catastrophic war scenarios, Thunderbolt Ross finally makes his move. With the help of Machine Man, he escapes his cell, disables his power inhibitor, and unleashes the full force of the Red Hulk. But Doom won't go down without a fight. His Doombots are already mobilizing. Ross isn't just escaping, he's starting a full-scale prison break, bringing together an entire team of captives who all have a bone to pick with Latveria's ruler. The issue sets the stage for something huge. Doom has been using Ross to plan chaos, but now Ross is about to turn that strategy against him. With an army of prisoners and the Red Hulk fully unleashed, the real war is just beginning. What do you think of this issue? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're loving these deep dive breakdowns, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an upload. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.